Hello, hello, friends. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Tonight is going to be a pretty short one. At least Laurie thinks it's going to be. Day 11, what we're going to explore is I touched on something last night, and after a beautiful Mother's Day out where we connected with people and connected as a couple, it just got me thinking that I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. So let's talk about wine is not a relationship tool. And this is all about rebuilding intimacy, rebuilding presence without needing alcohol to break the ice or to deepen the bond between each other or to deepen your understanding of each other. Now, I know this might stir up some stuff for you, right? Especially if your go-to has been using wine for date nights, for connection, dinner dates, or, maybe a way to have a conversation and soften a little bit of tension in your relationship. So, feel you, because if that is you, you are not alone. That was totally me as well. And I think one of my biggest fears, again, I touched on this last night, was if I stop drinking, would this ruin my relationship? Would we still be able to connect? Would we still have fun? Would our deep conversations disappear? And I know we sat out back many a night, like all the time, for the last 10 years or prior to not drinking. That's how we hung up with each other. We were like besties who would sit around and drink and talk till like literally the sun coming up. So for me, that was a fear that we wouldn't do that, and so therefore what would happen to our relationship? But the thing that I discovered was that fear was just total bullshit. And the beautiful thing about relationships is that when you've built it on a foundation that isn't just based on alcohol, it's based on all the other areas of your life that you've grown up, you've connected with in terms of how you've grown, the things that you've been through, then that's good news. That's great news, because then we just totally know that alcohol and the link to your relationship is 100% a story. And what I didn't realise is that I think what both of us didn't realise, because we both now no longer drink, is that we were outsourcing our connection to alcohol instead of building it with presence, building it with vulnerability, and learning more about our emotions as a couple and how they connected us, or how they also potentially separated us, right? And we had to relearn how to connect without that chemical bridge, or without the dopamine hit that we were getting from literally sitting around drinking all night, having fat old conversations, but in the morning be like, what do we even talk about? Or you probably have a lot of dreams when, you're talking about a lot of dreams that you have together, and what all the things that you're going to do and could do and blah, 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 blah. And they're not actually doing them, because the next day you lose steam, your motivation's gone, that dopamine hit's gone, and then you've just got this massive come down of feeling like arse. And so, oh gosh, it just brings back lots of memories. But yes, anyway, emotional intelligence is, real intimacy isn't in the glass of wine. It's not in the rum and coke. It's not in the beer. It is created through feeling your emotions. It is created by hearing what theirs are. It is created by holding space, even when it's damn uncomfortable. It is about learning to listen without needing to fix the other person. And hello, human brain. That is what it wants to do all the time. It wants to solve for problems instead of just truly being present. Or, not being present, and physically you're there, but mentally you've tapped out. So sometimes we use wine as a way to tap back in, right? Even though the conversation might feel like it's intimate, it's probably very surface level. It's probably tap dancing around the issues and not really leaning into the big courageous conversations that you want to have without alcohol. Presence is the biggest relationship upgrade you could ever give yourself and your partner. And I asked this question last night, was on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your relationship? And I remember I was asked this once and I thought, oh yeah, our relationship's like an 8 out of 10. Can't be 10 out of 10, right? Because otherwise it would be perfect, and no one's got a perfect relationship. But then she challenged me and she said, oh, what if it's actually a 2? What if your relationship was a 2 out of 10? Then what? And I was like, that's a good question. And more so, what if your relationship is really a 2, but it felt like an 8 because alcohol was what was actually smoothing the rough edges of it? And that question can be super, super uncomfortable. But discomfort is currency. Discomfort is data. And it's pointing you straight towards it. It's leading the way to where healing is most needed. So let's make this less heavy. I don't like the heavy stuff. Sometimes we've got to go into it, got to do the work. But connection doesn't always have to be deep and serious, right? I find sometimes the most craziest questions or the lighthearted questions are the ones that really open you up, and they open up your partner as well. And of course, when your husband or your partner's making dinner, you probably don't want to launch in with the biggest deep soul searching question. Otherwise they're just going to shut down. They're going to be like, what is this crazy mofo doing? And like, no, I'm not going to answer that. They haven't had time to prepare. They don't know where it's leading. It's kind of like their defensive walls go up because we've attacked with the first biggest question that their brain's just boggling over, going, oh, I don't know how to answer this. And so when they're trying to answer it from that place, they're probably giving you something very surface level. They haven't thought it out. They're probably telling you something that you want to hear, not what they actually want to tell you. So yeah, it's fascinating how when we go in too deep and too heavy, it's not always the way. So some questions you can try out for size. Prior to niching into stop over drinking, I actually did a year or so I had my own podcast called Married for the Last Time. It's still on Spotify, so there's about 10, maybe 15. I think there's 15 episodes on there. So if you get a chance, have a look at that. There's a couple of really good episodes in there around relationships. My history to that is, this is my 3rd marriage, and so it took me 3 marriages to figure out my relationship behaviours. And now I'm using these incredible life coaching tools to do exactly the same, to figure out my drinking habits or my drinking patterns. So very closely linked. Whatever I say there, I probably can literally pick it up and transfer it to stop over drinking. There are so many things, because relationships all start with us, and drinking starts with us. And there's a story behind it, right? So let's stick with the questions though. I've got four questions right now. Try one of these. And I was actually going to get my husband to play a game with me, but he's just walked in from work, and I quickly snuck out the door and said, hey, do you want to answer a few questions? And he was like, not tonight. So we're not going to play that game tonight, maybe another night. But I've got 4 questions for you. The first one is, what do you think our couple theme song would be? The one that came to mind for me was Life is a Highway by, I don't even know who's that. Hang on, let's see who that's by. You probably know who it is. Play along at home. Life is a Highway. Hang on. Tom Cochrane, that's who I'm thinking. Life is a Highway. So I think that would be our theme song. It feels like we have walked down so many roads. We have done so many things together. We've experienced so many, challenges that we've overcome. And yeah, that's my theme song. So what is your theme song? And maybe you could start, right? You could ask your partner, what is your theme song? I'll go first. And here's what I think mine is. Now, there's no right or wrong answers, so have some fun with this. The next one is, what do you miss that we used to do when we first met? I think my one's probably going out and dancing. I think we probably don't do enough of it. And I know when we were living in Perth, we used to do, not salsa dancing together, we used to do like, oh gosh, so not swing dancing, what was it? It's something like that. Anyway, that's what we used to do. So I think my answer to that would be, dancing. Ask the question. Third question. If our relationship had a rebrand, what would our new tagline be? Oh my gosh, I don't even know. What would our tagline be? I feel like something like all grown up. It sounds ridiculous. I don't even know what that means. All grown up, or getting our shit together, or if you wanted to put it into some probably fancy woo-woo words, maybe like a rebirth, right? We're having a rebirth in our relationship right now. It really feels like there's so many things that we've been doing the last couple of years that are just starting to align and click into place, and it feels like this is probably one of the best places that we've ever been in our relationship of I want to say almost 15 years. It'll be 15 years this year, so it does feel like a bit of a rebirth. Anyway, that's my answer to that. What is your answer? And ask your partner. Number 4, what do you need more of from me right now? I don't think we ask this question enough. What do you need more of? And you know what? It can just be a laugh. Like, I need you to be less serious. I need you to be less naggy. I need you to be less disorganized. I don't know, what is it for you, right? You might be pleasantly surprised at what comes up. But these are questions that you can ask without alcohol. You can be sitting on the couch, you can be cooking dinner together, you can be having a shower together, whatever that might look like for you. In the car, when we were traveling, I know we played a whole heap of stupid games when we were traveling, when we that pre-COVID. In the caravan, we would have the GoPro going, and we'd just be asking each other the craziest games, the craziest questions. And they're really empowering for your relationship, because life is just way too short to be so serious. So you will not lose intimacy by letting go of alcohol in your relationship. And to be fair, if you do, I'd be questioning, is it the right relationship for you? And maybe that's the work, my friend, is to consider, is it time to let go of that relationship too? Because if the relationship is built on a foundation where that is the only thing holding it together, then I would say, tough love, my friends. It's probably not the relationship that's going to be sustainable and live full out, right? What you can do here by creating real intimacy without the alcohol is build a new, more present, more emotionally rich version of it. Like that rebirth, right? When you are showing up as your whole self, all parts of you, not just a softened version or, one to be more, more like to please people. Honestly, that's as sexy as hell. Your relationship will not be boring. Your relationship will not be stuck in fear. You will not be stuck in just doing the same shit different day. You will not be disconnected. You will be learning to connect on a soul level. Like everything that is coming from here, everything that sits in your heart, you'll be able to say out loud. And that is such a beautiful thing in relationships. Without the alcohol, you don't need it. We don't need it. We just don't need it. So tonight, I'm going to leave you with one last journaling prompt, and that is, what fears do you have about intimacy? What fears do you have about what intimacy will look like without alcohol? And what kind of connection do you actually crave? This is your invitation, my friends, to really bring your desires into the light. You deserve connection built on truth, not just tolerating each other. You deserve presence. You deserve love, and presence not based on how you perform and how you show up, just presence as in figuring this light stuff together, even the hard stuff together, and doing it from a place of love without liquid courage, without the gold stuff, right? Without the red stuff, without the rum and coke stuff. So if tonight stirred anything within, my friends, please DM me. Let's talk about what's coming up. You're not here to ride solo through life. You are here to have companions. You are here to have mentors, friends, guides, partners, spouses that love you, places where you belong. This is a place for you too, my friends. This is the place where you get to raise your presence, and not our glasses, right? Let's raise our presence. Let's raise our connection. And let's work. I'll see you tomorrow. Live, day number 12. All right, friends. Bye.